So I don't know how I want to start this video. All I know that is it's going to take a lot of effort, and I'm outside right now. There's a lot of traffic around, so forgive me for the noise, but I've been wanting to sort of elaborate on this stuff for quite some time, and obviously be skeptical with a lot of stuff that I say, because I may come across as a vendetta chan. Yes, while I'm here, I'm going to start it off with who Kanadajin is. So she's a girl from Canada, and she essentially moved to Japan because she liked Japan, which she's now denying somewhat. Now she's also, she claims that she's Japanese ethnicity and ancestry. We all know that she's not, because she's not Asian, she's Caucasian. And she's also a new convert to Islam. Now, I've had my history with Islam, as some of you old viewers will know about, but this is important to know because I'm not coming from a background where I know nothing completely. Yes, I don't know everything either, but I have a little bit of information about and knowledge about Islam itself. There's also been quite a significant amount of history between Miranda and myself. Now, I personally feel that Miranda has taken things a little bit too far with me by delving into my personal life and contacting people that I know personally, when I have not done that to her. I made one comment on a thread. It was one of my first comments, I believe, about her. Maybe it might not have been one of my first, it might have been somewhere, I don't even know, in my history of commenting about her, but I was actually a fan of Miranda's until all of this all happened. And I believe that Miranda is very interesting in terms of personality and psyche. Now, Miranda's not only gone to great lengths of trying to delve into my personal life, because by coincidence one of my friends invited me to an event that she was part of, which was Hanami, and she found my profile through that and somehow knew it was me on Pretty Ugly Little Lies. I don't know how she got that connection. It was a little bit interesting. I was just like, well, wow, that's a little bit shady. So she also went on to locale. Now this is allegedly, because I have no actual solid proof. I have no IP addresses to compare or anything like that, but a lot of people think that she did this. It could have just been a fan. For all we know, it could have been KM. I'm not sure who did it, but the main consensus has been that Miranda went onto these website pages and posted stuff about my editing kind of channel. Because I was initially going to separate all of my Pretty Ugly Little Liars content and put it on this channel, and then I was like, nah, I can just keep it on my main channel and have this one for like just my experimental editing, having playing around with features, getting feedback off Reddit, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to show you the content that Miranda thought was about her.
Hi there, I'm going to totally teach you how to do Japanese like a Japanese person would. So, first phrase. Watashi wa baka. Okay, repeat after me. Watashi wa baka. Yay, you learned how to speak Japanese. Bye!
And do that. So I decided to do that off a whim. Whoever posted it allegedly Miranda ended up going on some conspiracy theory about how apparently I was stalking her, even though at this point I was just like, what? Like, she's like, everything was just red flags about her. Now there's also been a lot about sock puppeting. I'll get into that a little bit later in this video, but she's been well known to sort of either create fake profiles to make her look better and support herself, or she's been known to create fake profiles to attack people, or she's been known to get other people on her behalf to attack people with things she said, and I'll go into that a little bit later. Yeah, so she usually does focus around doing travel vlogs and all of that kind of agenda, and I think that's really interesting to know that, because usually you wouldn't expect so much drama from a channel that does travel vlogs, like as in checking out onsens and checking out like shrines, all that kind of crap, checking out the Japanese scenery. You wouldn't expect that from somebody who's just doing, you know, some travel vlogs. And there's been a lot of history. Now I won't necessarily delve too deep into some categories because there's plenty of videos out there to go on about, but there's been history with Rachel and John, for instance, where she sock puppeted them. There's been history about Rhodey, for instance, where she harassed him. There's been history with all these different people, and it's to the point where heaps of people are really skeptical of talking to her because of her history. Now, like, obviously I'm going to go into all this kind of stuff a little bit later, but I do want to delve in a bit deeper and I guess have a concise documentation of this person, because I personally feel like she is a grade A manipulator, and she's not only done it to just a couple of people, it's been a lot of people she's done it to. So I want to sort of put a stop to it. And yeah, I've been a bit skeptical about this because I don't want to make anybody else suffer for me making a video, but I also feel like this information is really important. So if I'm a little bit vague, please forgive me. It's because I don't want to cause any issues between people that she personally knows and people that I personally know that are mutual. And she could easily find that out potentially, because I imagine that these people would be on her Facebook friends. So yeah, anyway, I guess I will continue on. So I've also gone through a bit of stuff where I've looked through a lot of research, and honestly a lot of it is stuff that is speculated, but there's also a lot of it that has factual evidence towards it too. So this segment's going to be about the racism side of Kanadajin. So first of all, I'm going to get the biggest thing. I personally think that there's a lot of information, so I'm just going to gloss over this bit because the information is out there. It's on various websites. Pretty Ugly Little Liars, it's on Pool is another name for the website. There's stuff on Kiwi Farms, there's stuff on like Lolcow. There's a bunch of different sites where you can find this information. You can even Google it and do a quick image search for some proper evidence. out there. So it's really easy to find that, and that is Kanadajin being Japanese. So she claims that she's a Japanese person, ancestry wise. In other words, what you and I would consider as our parents being Japanese and basically having intercourse, creating the life that is us, and having them essentially, like, she's basically said that she's Japanese because she moved there. Like, her ancestry is Japanese because she moved there, if you get me. So there's so much information on that. She's done videos about it, she's done like so much stuff about it, and yeah. So the next thing that I will go over is blackface. Now, I will go over this one a little bit because a lot of material has been deleted in terms of videos. It's a little harder to find, so I think that you guys really ought to know. She painted her face black and went around Japan to try and apparently see what it was like being a black person in Japan. Now, we all know the history of blackface. I don't really need to delve in that and why that's racist, but she doesn't seem to understand the fact that it is seen as racist. So she claims that she was doing it as a social experiment to see what it was like for a black person being in Japan. She got the idea from a TV show. She also claimed that she was, you know, doing it to essentially, I guess, find out what it's like to be a black person in Japan from a white person's perspective. Now, she thinks that it's fine to have done it. She, as far as I know, she didn't like, she addressed it, she didn't actually apologize, and I think that that's a little bit you know, if you make a mistake you should say sorry. So she didn't hire a black person because she to like go around Japan or anything like that, because she felt that she should, you know, do it herself, because she'll have a different perspective, because black people don't know what it's like to be white. Quote from her apparently, however I haven't been able to find the source of that. I do believe she said it in the video, and I haven't done a big look for the video. I'm sure it's re-uploaded somewhere. So she was claiming that it was fine to do because she was trying to find out what it was like being a black person in Japan. So the next thing that I think is incredibly racist in a way and incredibly dangerous is she is glamorizing, you know, Islam. Now, I don't need to really put content in this video about that either, because if you just go to her YouTube channel you'll be able to see it all. Or if you follow her on Twitter, she has disabled her Twitter for the moment, but I believe that if you try and follow her, she can accept you as a follow request kind of thing. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I've never been involved with that side of things, but that is something to maybe consider. Now, the thing that I also want to address while I'm talking about the Islam part is that I made a video a couple of months back, basically saying people shouldn't be attacking her for supporting the story of Aisha. So now, I didn't do my research fully. I just saw a couple of tweets on Twitter and I was like, why is everybody hating on her for the religion? Now, the more I actually looked into it, I found out she had been actually supporting pedophilia. And I was like, oh shit. So, I thought I'd just let you guys know that I don't actually, like, if it looked like I was supporting that part of the argument, I wasn't. I will support the fact that everybody who follows a religion has the right to defend their religious parables, but I don't think that actual pedophilia in today's day and age is okay at all. I think that children are not mentally developed enough to make those adult decisions. So I thought I'd also cover that into this little bit too, because she's, you know, she said that, and I don't think that that's okay. I guess I misinterpreted a lot of that, so I wanted to make sure that you guys know that I was like, when I realized that, I should have, I still have the video up. I might actually take that down, but then I always regret videos that I take down. I also feel like she dresses Islam up as sparkly as possible. Now, there's as much good that can come with Islam and religion, there's as much bad, if not more. And I obviously don't want to delve too much into that, because I don't want to delve into the realm of hate speech or anything like that. However, I do feel like she needs to realize that she can't just take the good things out and ignore everything else. And I think that that's a big mistake that's been going on too. I feel like Mira's the kind of person who she'll read a couple of things and adopt it as an identity. She's looking for something in life, and I don't think that that's healthy at all. I'm actually quite concerned for her, and that's me speaking as another human being to another human being. I hope that she's okay, because I sit there and wonder, I've got to be honest, I sit there and wonder, is she going through something mentally or something like that? Because the amount of identity changes that she has is not normal. It's considered excessive in my opinion, and I personally feel that this stuff is everything online is a footprint of her identity changes. And I think that that's a little bit scary. So Miranda has tweeted recently a lot about stalker fans, and I think that that's a little bit interesting that she's done that. She's also been known to have made contact with one of her fans. Now, this fan is somebody that most people know of. I'm not going to name them for the sake of their privacy, but anybody who's been invested in this story knows exactly who this person is. This person has been absolutely loyal to her, and I was really shocked to see Miranda essentially talking shit about him. So this fan has been in contact with Miranda, and I know for a fact that this has been true because I've also been in contact with this fan as well. And although he doesn't relay me too much information, he has obviously been in contact with her. For instance, every time that I've been blocked on Twitter, somehow when he's told me that he's going to ask her to unblock me, I've been unblocked. Now, every time that I've said anything towards her and he sees it, he has come to me and said, look, I don't think you should get involved. I don't want any drama happening here and all that kind of stuff. He's been very, I'll be honest, he's been very white knighty, but his heart is in the right place. He seems like an absolutely lovely guy. I personally, this person actually bought me some Steam games as well, and just so there's transparency, this person has bought me Steam games as Christmas presents, which is really lovely. I wish I could return the favor, but I'm not rich. And so I do think that this person is genuinely a nice person at heart. I think that he's one of those people who is a little bit too giving, and I think that he really, I get concerned, to be honest. I think that he really ought to respect himself a little bit more and not let himself get into situations like this, because it's not fair. It really isn't. And he seems like such a lovely guy. I know that they've been really close friends for quite some time, and I really do hope that if Miranda does unblock him and does stop with all of this like stuff, I really hope that they can rekindle their friendship. But I have my doubts because of some of the stuff that I've seen in this whole thing. She's also tweeted a lot of stuff that's quite nasty about him, and I think that's really sad to see, because I know for a fact that he has gifted her a lot of money. There's been allegedly loans and all that kind of stuff too, and I haven't found that information out from him. I found it out from other sources, but I have heard this repeatedly, and I feel like when you hear something a lot, sometimes there's truth to it. Now, there's also information to support that she has been divorced since February, and that she is essentially currently engaged, possibly married, on a really short-term kind of thing. And I think that, honestly, I think that that is her personal business. If she is or isn't, she's allowed to be married, she's allowed to keep it private. A lot of people are claiming that she has no right to privacy with this stuff, and I think that as much as there's speculation out there, she really ought to have the luxury of being able to keep it private. However, when she exposes that information herself, then that's when privacy has been lost. Now, she's also made claims about her ex abusing her, and I've seen information about this too. I don't know how true that is. I was surprised to find out who her ex was, but I found that out from other sources. I somehow have a lot of sources to this. It's like I make a video and people just want to hand me intel. But I don't know what's true and what's false. That's the other thing, because as haters do, haters tend to want to promote false information as much as true information, whatever is incriminating. Now I've heard allegations that she didn't want to work. She didn't want to work at all. She's been apparently very big on not working and getting people to give her money. There's been allegations of several people receiving like basically getting pity cries from her, and she's been handed money by these people as loans and gifts. Now, allegedly she loaned a lot of money to no, she was loaned a lot of money by her fan, and she then didn't really, you know, take that like she didn't really respond very well when requested to pay up. My lighting is changing. So apparently her visa is actually valid until May as well, and that she's either currently married, which was a very quick change because she wasn't currently married the other day apparently, and she also had like a husband at the start of the year who's no longer her husband. But I don't know how true this is, because people like to talk crap. But the person that has informed me this, I trust to be honest about this stuff. I don't think that he would have been lying. I also know that she has borrowed money off people. Like, I know that for a fact. I also know that she's used things such as suicide threats as a tactic, and I was able to cross-reference that with the data that I was given compared to what's on her Twitter. I also know that she, like, this, as sad as this is, she cuts off people when they ask her to return these favors or to return what she borrowed. I also know that she has a Japanese credit card apparently, and no intent to work while she's on it, because she's married now, or she's getting married. And I know that she feels that apparently that it's an exchange, that she does this work. She did some paintings and sold those apparently. I don't know who's in the right, who's in the wrong. I do know that it's very important to not loan money to people that you guys don't actually know in person. And I think that that's really important to realize as well. Like, I'm gonna get a bit ranty right now, but this whole situation really pisses me off, because I feel that she's exploiting her fans. I don't know, like, imagine if this person was a lot younger than they are that was exploited. Like, that angers me, because it's like, well, you know, like, what if it was some kid who grabbed their parents' credit card? And my best advice for that person is to, you know, do what you can. PayPal tends to be able to refund things if it's within a certain period of time. Try and go through that, because I think that it's really unfair. And I don't know if I'm going to include the evidence or not into these videos, because I really want to, but I feel terrible for this person, because they're a victim in this situation. And I feel like that they've been villainized. They've actually been called an alt of this person. So it's really sad. And also, I would like to also elaborate on the sock puppet thing. There's been a lot of things going on with that, and I really need to go into detail with some of that stuff, because there's been evidence that I've been shown that she has ordered people to post on her behalf as sock puppets. So she has not directly done it, but she's gotten people that are vulnerable and easily manipulated. No offense to anybody who is a victim of this. She's gotten those people to actually go out of their way and essentially go pretend to be her, or go white knight with her personalized insults. And this fan is one of those people who have had to do that. And it's disgusting. Like, how can you treat your fans like that? I would never do that. Like, I don't know, it goes to show the mindset of a person. And I feel like also she tends to be she's a little bit loopy. There's got to be something going on with her, whether it's anxiety, depression, something is going on to cause this behavior. And I don't think she's very confident either. I think that she's always jumping from identity to identity in order to try and, you know, find her place in the world. And I hope that that it's found soon. I really don't think it will be, but I hope that she knows how to, like, she ends up looking after herself, because it's really sad to see.